Nasty Neal Jones.
And it muted me. And we're live here at the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Kyle Kauwika Harris, director of The Huntsman. It's cool to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so limited theatrical release starting this weekend or Friday, and then VOD February 10th and beyond. So for people not aware yet, could you give them an idea of what The Huntsman's about?
I guess it's about this sort of misunderstood ICU nurse who ends up taking care of a coma patient suspected of killing 6 girls in the fictional town of Antrim. And then, and nothing is as it seems. Yeah, sort of a dark psychological thriller. I think it's it leans into some of the genre expectations of the serial killer thriller, but it also veers slightly different than that. So, which was refreshing for me. So, yeah.
And it's based on a novel. So did you read the novel and want to do how did you get involved, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I'm out in Oklahoma City. That's sort of where my base of operations is here. And that's where I make all my movies as a writer director. Made a lot of movies out here. And I have a producing partner named Nick Clement. And Nick Clement and me have been, together for a while now making films. And he lives up in Connecticut. And Stephen Rittner.
Not far from me then.
Yeah, okay. Where are you from?
Massachusetts.
Okay, so yeah, not far. But he lives in Connecticut to this day. And he's always sort of just, we're always talking projects. Either something that I generate as a writer-director or something that he brings to me. In the case of The Huntsman, he met Stephen Rittner, who adapted the novel and ended up becoming the producer on the film as well. And so they brought it to us to take a look at. And there was some partial financing behind the project. And this would have been early 2023, so 3 years ago, probably this month. And so they brought me the script first that Stephen adapted from the novel. I read that, we read it and we were like, okay, what do we need to do to get moving on it? And it was just one of those things where the investors wanted to see a proof of concept, like sort of our vision for it. And so we went and did a proof of concept short film called The Killing Ground. The investors saw that probably in the summer of 2023, and they fell in love with it. And then within a few months, we started talking about casting. We got Mark Ruttman, the casting director, and went from there. But yes, right before we did The Killing Ground, which is the short film proof of concept, I read the novel. And so that way we just better understand the entire world, and went from there, man.
So when you did the short, did you do festival run or anything with the short?
I'm trying to think. No, I don't believe we did. It was solely for, just getting it made as a proof of concept.
Mm-hmm. But have you done that before? Because I always find that interesting. Because I have a lot of friends who make short films, and some of them that's the reason. And people have all different reasons. Maybe that's just a story they want to tell, is like a 10-minute thing.
Yeah, you know what, man? Like, I think as a filmmaker, when you're first starting off making short films, this is the way to go, right? But I think the more you get into the film industry, I think how can you be more economical with things? And it's like, if you can do a short film, but also be a proof of concept for a feature, then you're like, if you're raising money to shoot a short film, maybe you can tell your investors that, hey, if we get the feature version made, then we can pay you back from the short, for the short film stuff. And so there's just ways to kind of think about it and keep the project alive a lot longer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think now for me, short films, as proof of concepts for features is kind of my way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Did it have the same cast? Those, at least like the key characters?
It had a different cast, but we had Ryan Merriman. He was in 42, the Jackie Robinson biopic. I think he played the bad guy on the baseball team. And we had Jonathan Lipnicki and Danny Boyle Connor, who's also in the Huntsman feature. He's one of the members of House of Pain. Oh, so cool. we had a few names. Ryan Francis, who's played young Peter Pan in Steven Spielberg's Hook. So we had several people that came and played, and we had fun for like 3 or 4 days in the heat of Oklahoma summer, which is unpleasant.
So how close is your film version to the novel?
Well, it's not too far off. I mean, the general conceit is all there. It's still the same. I think the things that differ, when you adapt a novel, it's a 300-page novel and you're taking 120 pages out of it. So obviously things are going to be left behind. I think we had to make a decision, and we shot it all. We shot a bunch of stuff that didn't get into the movie. But I think the most important part was from the book is we cut out a lot of maybe the first 60 pages of the novel. And the first 60 pages deal with Tina Benning and the girl that's the first murder victim of Antrim. And when it comes to our movie, it starts with the investigation finding the body of her. So we don't get any of that backstory with Tina Benning other than what you get out of the headlines in the opening title sequence. So there was a whole bit there, like 50, 60 pages in the very beginning of the novel, where it just goes with her life. And she's having like a party at her work for her birthday, and she's leaving to go to med school. And something unfortunate happens. But we introduced Lincoln Rader, which is Garrett's character, Garrett Dillahunt. And we thought it's just too early. And we did the proof of concept that way. So we thought we've already kind of went down that road a little bit. How can we just sum it all up and start from this point here?
Often when people, they see the film version, whatever movie, and they'll say this is left out, but it's just like you're saying, you can't make a 6-hour, film. You
right.
can, but it's not going to play anywhere.
Right. Yeah. You just got to be like every page,
And some things just don't translate specifically to film, I think, that you're reading.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, was there any inspirations, just like how you're going to make the movie, like any other films or something?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, being a psychological thriller, a serial killer thriller, I looked at all those films, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo to Seven, but our film the story wasn't really an action story. Mm-hmm. When I did my version of the rewrites, I added some action elements into it, like SWAT team raids and stuff like that, a little bit more gunplay to sort of up the ante and elevate the action a little bit, because it's so intimate, the movie is. And then I wanted it to be a little more bigger physically. And so I incorporated that into my rewrites. But the characters were all still there, like the Sam Miller suspect and all that stuff. I just expanded on their sort of angle into the story. But the biggest sort of influence for me, and you can see it all over the movie once I tell you this, it was Jonathan Demme. I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Demme. Silence of the Lambs is obviously a serial killer type thriller, but I didn't want to lean there. Mm-hmm. To be honest, if I'm being fully transparent, The Manchurian Candidate or Something Wild, absolutely The Manchurian Candidate in its eeriness, where the characters are all sort of the suspects, or you don't really know what to believe or what to think. And I love how Jonathan Demme shoots this sort of perspective where he might shoot a scene traditionally, but then there's always the cameras looking right at him. They're looking right into the lens, and it just makes it feel off and sort of eerie, and you don't really know who to trust, or if the situation is able to be trusted. And so we auditioned that for the film. And when I was talking to my director of photography, we employed that. And I think it brought the material around to something more than just sort of standard traditional. It gave it that sort of quality that I was looking for.
Yeah. Along those lines, What were some movies or directors that made you want to become a filmmaker?
Ooh, I mean, you know what, man? Like, I think I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And so I think Michael Mann is a huge influence of mine. I do a lot of I write a lot of screenplays. I write a lot of stuff for Hollywood, and I've probably written over 30 scripts. And a lot of my stuff is geopolitical. It's military based. It's dirty cops. So it's like, I would say something from Copland, Training Day, from Jeff Nichols' Mud, Out of the Furnace, The Place Beyond the Pines, Sicario, Wind River, Hell or High Water. That whole Taylor Sheridan verse is sort of what I write a lot of and do. Like my last couple of films, Out of Exile and Reverence, are in those genre and themes. But like growing up, I mean, my favorite films were like Cool Hand Luke, Badlands, Last of the Mohicans, No Country for Old Men, There Will Be Blood, The Shawshank Redemption, Road to Perdition. I mean, I could go on and on, man. Like, I love movies, and I watch a new movie every night. And whether it's my genre or not, I just watch movies, and I learn from them. So
I just recently actually read No Country for Old Men, the novel.
It's pretty close to the movie.
Yeah, they really and it, so often when you read the book after the movie, you're kind of like, oh man, they miscast whatever or something. Yeah. But like when I was reading the book, like your mind goes to all the characters from the movie. It's like, wow, they like really nailed this.
Another one's True Grit, the Charles Portis novel. I've read that a couple of times. It's such a great novel, and just like No Country for Old Men, it's a breeze to sort of read through. And the Coen brothers sort of captured that perfectly as well.
By the way, Michael Mann, since you brought him up, Manhunter, the first version of Hannibal. Yeah, and that movie, like it's really underrated for years, but I do think it's starting to find like its audience in the last 10 years or whatever.
Sure. I mean, that's like, what's his name, Tom Noonan?
Yeah, I've had him on the show.
That's crazy.
Actor. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I was warned not to have him on. People were like, he's really difficult. He was for about 5 minutes, and then I think he liked being on, and then he was cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think this interviews, nothing against anybody that's an interviewer. It's just like I feel like we're artists, we're weird, we're all the outcasts and misfits of the world. So
right.
We have this imposter syndrome where we're like, someone's going to ask us a question that they feel is important, but we feel important enough to answer it. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's this weird thing going on in our heads that I don't know. Anyway,
and his Francis Dollarhide, I think, is the best portrayal of the character. It was in Red Dragon, and it was in the TV show, but his actually captured what's in the novel.
He's great in Heat as well, because he's in Heat, and I loved him in RoboCop 2, and The Pledge, and Last Action Hero, and all the. I mean, he's in so many great like weird bad guy character roles. He's just such a good actor.
Yeah, his how he explained acting was really different than anyone else I've ever had on. He says he just plays himself.
Sure.
But if he was in there, like either he grew up, as that character or whatever, and most people like take it like they become that character, but he kind of has the character him, and I thought that's actually a really interesting way to look at it.
That's what I do as a director. I'm not much of a fan of. I don't really do auditions. I feel like I can spot acting, and I feel like when you get an audition as a director, people are trying to do a great job for you, so they're putting on a character first. So I'm seeing the character before I see the actor, and I feel like for me, I like to sit down with the actors and sort of understand their general disposition and essence. And that way, when you get on set, you can kind of marry that to the character, because the character's got that same sort of, feel and vibe and tone. And so, like, every now and then you'll get a project and someone will say, you should cast against type here. You should cast a comedian to play a dark role. And I understand, I understand that sort of thought, and I've done it before, and it has worked before for others. But when I've done it, it feels like I'm on set and I'm like, you want to give the performer, the actor, that space to do what they do. And if their natural sensibilities is to lean this way, when I'm trying to go this way, then it's like you're constantly like pulling them back or pushing them forward, or it's just so much easier when you can find actors that understand the source material and themselves, and like it's easier to marry the two. So grounded realism is what I'm a fan of. Yeah.
So kind of along those lines, when you cast the Huntsman, not like you rewrite the script or anything, but does like your vision of the characters, change somewhat, once you meet the different actors?
Sometimes I think when it came to the Huntsman specifically, Garrett Dillahunt was the first person we cast, and he was my first choice. Outside of budget range or anything like that, it was just he's just a great actor. I call it a character actor. I don't know how he feels about that, but like I think he's a great character actor. And I remember seeing him in The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, and he's got this sort of tragic hauntedness to him, and he just steals the scene from Brad Pitt. And that one moment they have together, or they have several moments, but there's one key moment in the movie. And I remember just being captivated by that, and it just stuck with me. And as I'm looking at Lincoln Raider, there's some similarities there. There's a tragic, victim of circumstances here. And you've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to give you away spoiler alerts or anything, but as long as you've seen the movie, we understand what we're talking about. But sort of his trajectory in the story. And I feel like he can do a lot with this and less with this, and so I thought Garrett's he would be great, and he was the first person we took it to for Lincoln Raider, and he said yes.
Yeah, they're both great in the movie, and their interaction, and kind of like while you're watching it, like what is the connection, like why is he interested in helping this guy, and is it beyond just it's maybe the right thing to do as a human being. So.
Yeah, well, there's a sort of a theme of that vigilantism in the movie. In the beginning, in the opening title sequence, when a grieving husband enacts some vengeance on Lincoln, and then the town sort of erupts around this sort of, him in the coma, but coming out of the coma and going back home, and that constant pressure of that. And then so there's in small towns. I'm from a small town. And this was also something in the rewrite that I wanted to do even bigger in the film itself, was that there was if someone's murdered in a small town, and it's like a young girl or anybody, but like in particular, like a young woman that has a big future ahead, and the town demands answers, and then a few more end up being killed. So like, how would the town react to that? They wouldn't just be going to work, doing their 9 to 5 passively, right? I think the town would erupt, and it would force them sort of to leave or something. I think that's why I told, like we were shooting the film, I wanted like protesters at the gates. Like they should feel this constant pressure of like, people are watching us, or like they don't want us here anymore. Like we're guilty, even if we're, not proven guilty in a court of law, we're just guilty. And, what does that feel like? And I don't know. I think Garrett did a great job of like that pressure on him.
Yeah. I also even have that in my notes, the idea of like someone just being thought of as being guilty because you're accused, and
right.
And then the idea like it's not necessary that they're bad, like because if you did think someone killed a bunch of people, you would I think that's a natural reaction to be like this guy, something bad needs to happen to him,
right? And then the reinforced theme of vigilantism is sort of embodied with Max, right? But he's just doing it in a different way, more strategic, versus he's not joining the protesting line, he's infiltrating, and then he hits a wall when he's released from the hospital, but then Jolene gives him another call to action by coming to the home, and he's the only person that Lincoln trusts now, and so there's another opportunity to infiltrate, and so yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, but Garrett, I said a great actor, and he can play someone that seems like small in a way, or someone who seems like more menacing in a way. So I think that's a really good trait to have as an actor.
Same thing with Elizabeth Mitchell. She was my choice to go to for Jolene. And I remember seeing a film of hers. I was in the military when I watched Lost back in early to mid 2000s, and I thought she was great in that. But I remember seeing Running Scared with Paul Walker, and she just was the embodiment of evil without like being, in your face about it.
Yeah,
she was just spooky. And I remember thinking, like, if I can get Elizabeth Mitchell in this, regardless that she's Mrs. Santa Claus, and she said yes. And, and then the same thing with Sean, I love Sean's work. And, but Sean came to me on a list. The role of Max was the hardest role to cast because obviously it's the main role, and it's someone like mid 30s to early 40s. And so you can go, there's a wide range of talent there. And I remember Mark Ruttman, the casting director, because we casted Lincoln first, he just gave us a list of people. And he's like, this is your top 10, I think, that we should go to. And I remember seeing Sean's name on the list, and I was like, oh, Sean Ashmore. I was like, yeah. I was like, this guy's great. Let's go this way. And we're so lucky Sean said yes, because Sean is not just a great actor, but he's a great person too. Like the most like gentle, soft spoken. He listens, he observes. He's always just right there, ready to rock and roll. And so a huge asset to have on your set, so loved it.
There's a lot of dark stuff in the movie, obviously, too. And
it's all comedic.
I guess none of it we're talking too light, but I mean, like some really dark stuff that like you are more. I mean, you show some of it's more hinted at. I think like stuff in the basement, and what would well, first of all, like where was that filmed? The basement stuff. It's
well, we shot it all in Oklahoma, but specifically it was in a llama farm.
And, okay, I did not expect that.
Yeah, there's some llama farms in eastern Oklahoma City, and I guess this one had just shut down or shut down the last year. And so during like bad weather, they would bring them down underground. They had this backside of this hill, and they dug it out underneath it. And so it was like, 6-7 feet deep, and it had these sort of brick walls, like rock walls everywhere around it. And they could come in there, and there was this metal roof ceiling where they could chain them up, to like something, or hook them in so they could walk up and down the line. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, we just went in there, and my producer had shot there on a previous film for another movie, and that became some sort of weird basement horror film or something. And
from llama farm to like a dungeon,
to movie set.
Dungeon,
llama farm to movie set. And so 2 movies in a row there.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever talked about a llama farm on the show before. Now I'm actually curious. What do you do they? I don't know why you would know, but what do they do with llamas? Do they raise them for?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know why I even asked you, but I am curious now. I'm going to look up llama farm after the show.
Yeah.
So are you a horror movie fan yourself? I know this is technically probably more of a thriller. I'm not really a stickler for genre. I think that if you like the movie, you like the movie. I don't think if you consider Silence of the Lamb horror or thriller, does it make the movie better or worse?
Right. I mean, man, I think I like horror films, but I like grounded horror. Yeah, I'm not into like the slasher films really. I mean, I'll watch them, like Scream and whatnot, and Terrifier or whatever. I'll see the films, but I don't think that's sort of my sensibilities as a storyteller. I don't lean towards that. I mean, I might watch, if I'm thinking about horror films that are my favorite, it would probably be like Alien, The Thing, cosmic horror, Predator, first Predator. Those are some good horror films to me, but they're cosmic horror, I guess, or sci-fi horror. But like,
for me personally, I think Alien just is really a horror movie. It's just set on a spaceship, basically.
Sure.
And I've had arguments about Predator, but it's totally a horror movie. It's a monster picking people off one at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like Blair Witch Project to me is I think to me it's smart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it outdoes so many movies that try to get made for $40 million. I get all the horror vibes I need from that, and like I feel like I'm in the world, and I feel like a lot of like horror films nowadays look a little too clean and a little too polished for me, and so it has CGI backgrounds, or there's too much CGI in it, and then I'm just kind of pulled out of it. I love all movies, but I'm kind of like I kind of am a stickler with the, how I agree maybe with Denis Villeneuve or Martin Scorsese, and that I'm not the biggest like Marvel fan. I watch those movies, but like they're not my favorites. Like Avatar. I haven't seen the newest one yet, but I will watch it. And but I already know that it's not going to be my favorite film. It's just something about the grounded realism in it, and it's just there's a disconnect somewhere in it.
Yeah, the weight's not there. I think it's very hard to do with like CG to get the. I think like Jurassic Park actually did a good job getting like where it seems like that they're actually interacting.
Yeah, the first Jurassic Park, so good, right? And I don't think any of the other ones can outdo it.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah,
and it's weird. Jaws, like it holds up. It still holds up, and it's still great.
Yeah, and really I know they always talk about, if they remake Jaws, they could put more shark or whatever. And it's like, well, the movie's not really about that. It's about the three guys, the strength of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Quint is like one of the best supporting characters of all time.
100%.
He's up there in my top 10 best supporting characters in film of all time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I live not far from where Jaws was shot. I live on Cape Cod. So yeah, every summer there's a lot of like Jaws Fest and stuff. But Blair Witch, I always wonder, and I know some younger people who like it, but if you weren't like alive when it came out, like how you would, if you watch it like for the first time now, I don't know if it would have the same like impact, because like when it came out, like it had, people really thought maybe it was really real. And it was kind of, the internet was around, but not as big as it was. So there wasn't all this stuff out that was fake. And then there wasn't all these like copies of it since then. There's all these found footage movies.
Right. I remember that. I remember it actually could be like true. And I remember going to the theater to see it. And I remember when I walked in, there was like a foyer area, and there was like this big thing on it. All this like, just discussion boards on it. And I remember thinking like, I cannot wait to see this. And I went in, it was a packed theater, and it was like one of 3 times in my entire life where I had to sit on the front row. And there's only been like literally 3 times where that's ever happened to me. And because the theater was that packed,
Yeah. It's very rare today. Yeah.
Yeah. It happened not too long ago, actually. I went and saw Gladiator 2 and sat on the next to the front row.
Yeah.
And I don't like to sit up in the front.
No, I mean, yeah, because you got to sit like this. Right? Yeah.
And so like I remember sitting at Gladiator 2 and just being like, it's like right there in my face. But the first It movie, I think it was sold out. And then I can't remember the other one was. I can't remember.
Yeah, honestly, no, I think it was a kind of a weird movie too. Dungeons and Dragons actually had to sit like, I think it was in the 3rd row. Because I don't like to sit way up at the front either. It's very hard to watch the movie. Plus, I think I think Blair Witch also hits differently for people like if you were outside a lot as a kid. Like we spent a lot of time in the woods, like doing that kind of stuff. So then I think that movie affects you more.
Oh,
I suppose if like you grew up like maybe just on the internet or something.
Man, I'm so thankful I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I didn't even have my first cell phone until I was in college, which would have been 2001, 2.
Yeah, I didn't have one till 2011. And the girl that was going to see, she's like, "You don't have a cell phone?" I'm like, "No, I don't need that." Now I honestly can't think of not having one, because just for maps alone, it's very useful.
Yeah. I remember getting my first one in college, but then I went right into the military and then was just gone all the time. And so you never really used it anyways. for like 4 years. And so 2007, 2008, where I guess the internet started really like becoming a thing for me. And, but I mean, growing up in the 80s and 90s, just, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for the way I was raised and grew up, and just sort of using my imagination and being able to be bored, and then knowing how to use your imagination to like go out and do something, go ride bicycles around the back roads, or build a hut in a tree, or build a fire with your friends, or go fishing, or whatever it is. Like today, that stuff doesn't happen. And I feel like,
yeah, I don't want to be the old guy, like, back in my, but I know there's like kids all around my neighborhood, but I literally never see them outside ever.
No,
because like I have a lot of snow here, and I remember when I was a kid, I'd love it when it would snow. We'd go sledding and have snowball fights or build forts or whatever. And
yeah, man, dude, I remember at 12 years old just walking like a mile with my tackle box and a fishing pole. And just like my parents would just let me walk to a pond or a lake or a river. And I wouldn't tell them where I was going. I just like, I'll be back later.
Yeah.
Just go. And I'd come back at dusk, and they'd never, like, the cops never went looking for me. Nobody ever stopped to ask me if I needed help. It's just, I don't know. It's just it was a different time back then. And
yeah, I would say we were out until nighttime, and then sometimes after that. But yeah.
Oh yeah, sometimes after that. I've been chased by coyotes before, and cows after dark, and it can get creepy Oklahoma's got some woods and countryside, so for sure.
No cow. Well, I'm sure there are cows here, but none that I've really seen. So. And I didn't know cows could chase you.
Oh yeah. Well, they chase you because they think that, like my grandpa had 300 acres, and if he would drive his truck, he'd have like a hay fork on the back of his truck, and he would tilt it down and lift up the hay, and we'd drive down in the field, and the cows would just run. Right. And so anytime there's like a human presence, they think they're getting fed. So if you take a shortcut through someone's land or something, and they're all sort of, herded somewhere near a water source, and they see you, they're going to start following you. They won't run after you, but if you run, they will run.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it gets scary. It's like a stampede.
So,
this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a horror movie on its own.
We're talking about
cows.
Stampeding cattle for the Huntsman.
So I do, the Huntsman's going to play theater starting Friday, and I'm someone who does go to the movies almost every weekend because I think it's the best way to watch film. But
sure,
in modern day, the rise of streaming, how does that affect you as a filmmaker, and what are your thoughts on streaming?
I mean, I'm still in my beginning stages of filmmaking, and I can't. It's hard enough to get a movie made, let alone fight the how the distributors in the industry is sort of moving towards. It's like I would prefer to stay in theaters. I like physical media. I like DVDs and stuff like that because I'm from that time. So I guess I'm still a little confused on. They say that revenue sources for DVDs have, since that went away, it's harder to like recoup your ROI on film projects, but it's like you're still renting films on streaming services. You're still buying movies. I feel like there's just a disconnect somewhere in all of it that they got to figure out still. But I feel like it's going to mellow out a little bit. And, the whole AI thing, like I'm not worried about it. It's just part of the changing times and technology. And I think we just have to adapt and kind of go with it and not, but again,
you can't like, it's not going to go away. It's only going to get more advanced. So.
Right. But I don't think that everybody wants those types of movies. Like if they want to go make an AI generated film with AI generated actors, or great, go do that. I mean, I feel like that's what Avatar is in some ways. Like
I agree.
It's like CGI film. I just don't, some people will like it. I will probably watch it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to love it. I want to see what Jeff Nichols does next, or Denis Villeneuve, or David Ayer, or any Antoine Fuqua. I want to see what those guys do with like human stories. I'm still interested in that. So technology can advance all it wants, but that doesn't mean that we love that better, or audience love it better, because they don't. And but it's like the new shiny thing that everyone has to have right now. And So let them have it. You know, it's like a trend that people chase. You know, it's like, remember when you go to school when you're a kid and the first of the year and someone came in with like new Nikes,
Right. Yeah.
and then everybody had to buy them.
Mhm.
And it's like, but my, you know, and even I would like, Mom, Dad, I gotta have these new Nikes. And they'd like,
Uh-huh.
no, you're not doing that, son. You're gonna wear your, you know, whatever those are. So like, you know, I don't really chase the trend too much. You know.
Do you ever put out physical releases of any of your films?
It's not up to me. It's up to the
Yeah,
distributor.
yeah.
But Australia sure as hell does.
Oh, cool.
And they put Out of Exile, and I just did a film called Reverence is up there. Came out in November.
Oh,
So
sweet. Well,
missing,
congratulations.
yeah. So that I had that movie too that I wrote and directed, and it came out in November. And so I'm sure it'll have an Australian DVD that someone will send me, and I'll just keep it on my shelf as a memento. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, cheap plug. I do have the Blu-ray of my first feature film, the Once
Yeah.
and Future Smash. So.
Nice, man. That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, we self-distributed that. So
nice. Yeah, man. I mean, making movies, however you can get a movie made, if it's tough, right? You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And it takes years. I mean, here we are 3 years later from when we were first introduced to the Huntsman until it's coming out. Literally 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been longer. I've had projects where it's been longer. So it's just a long, slow game, and you have to be patient and work multiple things at once to sort of have any kind of a career out of this. And I feel like it's not a job. And honestly, if you look at it as a career, you might be in trouble. I think you have to kind of approach it as a calling, you know, and if you can look at it as a calling, then maybe it's just in your DNA. So you can't.
Honestly, when I got involved in making movies, my friend Michael, who I do this stuff with, he's like, "This is a terrible idea, but but you can stay out of it. But you know, if it's something you really love to do, you can't stay out of it."
That's it. Like, and if you do step into that, and you say, "Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be," then don't do it half-ass, right? It's like go all the way and really like try to find, like, identify all the flaws that you like. It, I feel like filmmaking's helped me as a person. Just like it identifies weaknesses in me. Like no one likes to get up and communicate with people, you know, like
right.
It's hard to go to a stranger and ask them for money. You know, it's like, so there's this whole process to things, and it's tough. It's not easy. And so it gets you outside of your comfort zone constantly. And I do like that. There was a time where I couldn't speak in front of crowds 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then just taking out my documentary films all over everywhere. And you're kind of forced to start talking about them. And then so it did help me.
What's the difference between making a documentary and a narrative?
I think, well, obviously, a narrative is scripted.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make it slightly easier. I don't think the budgets have to be as big because you're not really paying for, like, some movies, some docs, I guess, do, but like you're going out to tell a story about something that happened, an event or a place, or you don't have to worry about so much all the time unions, and you can just go tell your story and just do the best job of telling the story. And if you need to go do reshoots, you can kind of go back and do it and schedule interviews and stuff like that. But acting, making films, there's 50 people on set, and when I'm on a documentary set, there's 5 or 6. I don't have. I've done a couple of feature docs, and literally I don't have anybody any more set bigger than that. It's like, it's literally just 6 people, and so I kind of like that. I feel like things get done better, and it's more intimate, and people feel more open to speaking versus 25, 30 people staying behind the camera. I don't know how actors do it, honestly. How they can be so open and vulnerable in front of a camera that's moving, with lights that are moving, and sound things hanging over their head, and like crew members behind all around them just walking and like kind of like watching them. It's like, it's weird. That's why I couldn't be an actor.
Mhm. What's the movie? Was it Reverence behind you? What's that movie about?
Reverence is it's a movie I wrote and directed at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. Just came out in November. Saban released it, and it's a missing persons thriller. It's kind of got some similar film comparables like Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners or Mystic River. It's a young girl goes missing in a small town, and sort of the investigation that ensues to find her, and the father of the girl who takes it sort of the law into his own hands. And yeah. So,
What did your family think about you wanted to become a filmmaker?
yeah, well, they never really said anything about it. Like I think I was raised by my stepdad, and he was a high school football coach, so he was pretty tough on us. Like he, not like mean, but like just when your dad's the football coach of the small town, high school football coach, and there's expectations of like work ethic, and you're going to show up to summer pride, and you're going to run the laps with everybody, and you're going to get out there and get your hands crushed every day. He wanted me to be more like in physical stuff, physical therapy and stuff like that. So after college, to go to physical therapy school and be a physical therapist. But I was also a musician in a band in high school, and then like right into my first 2 years of college. And so I was just playing in bands and having a good time. And I didn't really want to go do sports anymore. I was just kind of burned out on it. And, but I've always sort of loved the military. I've always loved military movies and stuff like that. And so I enrolled in my third year of physical therapy school. And right when I went to my dorm, I just went and signed up for the Navy and went and joined. Just went right in. And so that was the first time where like I got outside of my comfort zone, and the parents didn't have access to like, let's shape you to go this way. Mm-hmm. I just made a decision, and I had to get out of the comfort zone, and I was too young, didn't really know how to do that. But again, I've always been a reader. So growing up, my grandpa had a huge library in his house, and he would watch Clint Eastwood movies and John Wayne movies. It wasn't Saturday morning cartoons. When you're at grandpa's house, it was like mature films. And he had a library, and I remember just reading all the Louis L'Amour, Franklin W. Dixon, Hardy Boys books. And of course, if we watched Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I think I was 10 years old or 9 years old. And then I got so big into Robin Hood, and then my grandpa he bought me this longbow, a real one. And then he got a square bale of hay and like baling twine, and it was all on the trees. And like, he let me just kind of have my imagination out there. And so going into the military and getting outside of my comfort zone, I found myself just kind of going back to books and old movies, and I was kind of a loner. And so I would just live in those worlds and just daydream. But my mom's a school teacher, and my stepdad, who was a football coach, passed away years ago. My biological father, he's a security, he works security at a hospital. And so like, never really came from money or anything like that. My mom, she sang in like church and things like that. So like, music's always been a big thing in our life. But my mom's never really like said no. No one's ever said no. I've never asked them for $1 for filmmaking. So they just kind of, I think they're surprised, because this kind of stuff doesn't come out of Oklahoma very often. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up knowing somebody in the film industry yet. Not one person, as a matter of fact. I've never known anybody famous in my entire life, and never met anyone famous, I don't think, until I got into the filmmaking world. So I don't know. It's just something that was in the back of my head from my youth. And I feel like I understood sort of emotions, and I was emotionally mature than most kids, I think.
Did you go to a film school, or was it something like you self-taught?
Yeah. I went to a 2-year, 2010 through 2012. I ended up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was living out there. My daughter was just little then. And again, this is sort of like outside of my comfort zone. I got settled in. I was playing in bands in Vegas after the military, and then went down to Arizona. And then I went to this 2-year degree certificate program for like cinematography, because that was always my favorite, was cinematography and the writing. And so I went to this 2-year program, and I remember it allowed me to focus on like framing and all that stuff, and how to marry the words on the page to the image, and so like as soon as I finished that, I came back to Oklahoma and I started just producing my own content, short films and stuff like that. I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for that school, because it gave me a camera, and the camera allowed me to go out and become who I needed to be. And then when I got back to Oklahoma, I realized there's nobody here doing this. And so I just started creating it myself. And that was in 2012.
So. I don't want to get like beyond the Huntsman, because I want people to go see it. But do you have like your next project in mind? Are you working on anything currently?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. There's actually, it's crazy. You were talking about Blair Witch earlier. I have this little grounded horror film that I wrote, which I've only written 3 horror screenplays ever. And so there's this small project that we might go do that's a sort of experimental horror. I'm raising money for that one right now. I want to shoot it this year. And then there's a movie I'm doing in the Philippines. It's like an action film, military action film. And we're closing on an actor right now. And so I'm sure you'll be seeing that, coming up real soon. Hopefully it's like, I'm being told April, maybe, that it might go. And then we're out to actors on another project I wrote and I'm directing for the fall. And that's the project that got me into Hollywood as a writer. And I just kind of held on to it. It's a Native American crime drama. And Mr. Martin Sensmeyer, I've been chatting with him and to play the lead role. And now we're out sort of casting the other roles. And hopefully that goes later this year. And then there's lots of producing gigs. So we also produce projects. And we've done like 8 films in the last couple of years. And so, yeah, a lot of them are the producing jobs that come in. And so getting to work with other filmmakers and other actors and stuff like that, and produce films here in Oklahoma with a producing partner, Jacob Snovel and Madison Bullock and Nick Clement. And
I feel like the term producing, sometimes people don't understand, what that entails. And sometimes it's different in different movies. So what does that mean for you to produce a film?
To produce a film in Oklahoma, for me, it's like put the project to work. Like, I'm not really someone else's project. When there's someone else has the rights to it, it's not really up to me to raise the money for that thing. Sometimes we'll introduce investors or whatnot, but like, I don't raise the money for the projects. What I do is when they have the project ready to go, we get the budgets ready. We do the rebate paperwork for the state, for the film incentives. And then we hire location managers, we hire the crew, and we just facilitate production and basically our support for the entire production. Yeah.
How would I'm not asking everyone to send you projects or something, but like you're like a production company or whatever, like in Oklahoma, like how do people like get involved in that?
Well, I mean, I'm on social media. I'm on IMDb. My contact information for my company stuff's all on there. Anybody can feel free to reach out to me. I just feel like, a lot of young filmmakers, because I remember when I was 10 years ago or more, and I remember always thinking to myself, like, if someone would just kind of pay attention to me and see what I can do, or like the thoughts in my head, I'm going to make it. If someone would just see that, and or someone would step in and help me. Mm-hmm. And but then I started to realize after I started making films that that's kind of like not the right way to do it. I feel like the right way to do it is to do it yourself. And what that means is write the movie yourself. Don't try to like find a writing partner with different sensibilities, and then like create, you're being creative when you're a writer. You're being creative when you're directing a movie. You're being creative in the edit room. You're being creative in the composer room. But like the film pre-production, that's business stuff. And so you kind of have to become a businessman, and you have to be able to communicate and create paperwork and pitch decks and go out and talk to people and raise money and put your ideas and your creative vision to work. Like if you believe in your voice and the thing that's talking to you, don't wait or rely on other people to come in and save you. Like take ownership of the thing that you have and go do it. Just go get it made, go figure it out, and that's what I've always done. And now I'm here, making bigger budget movies or starting to get into bigger budget movies. And
I think it's very rare for someone to have both skills. Like usually someone who's more creative, like oriented, isn't good or maybe not interested in the business end. And usually, and sometimes the reverse, like someone who's really good at the business end isn't a creative person.
You just kind of have to marry it all together. I think, yeah. I mean, if you wait for other people to notice your vision and talent, you might wait forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to bet on the house? You're going to bet on yourself. You're going to bet against somebody else. I'm going to bet on myself. And I think that's just like, again, Dad was a football coach, raised on a farm, being in the military. Like, I've been kicked and beat around and told no and spit in my face and broke both hands. It's like, I feel like pressure and those things are getting knocked down is okay. Just get back up and just keep going. Mm-hmm. And if your project doesn't end up the way you want it and you feel like it's a failure, then just keep moving forward. Just fail forward, right? But learn from every time you do something and try to make it better each time. Or I think also identifying where, like, being able to self-identify your problems, like know what my weaknesses are. And then like, okay, let's focus on that. I don't know what it is, man. It's like to be a filmmaker and to handle the business side of it at the same time, be creative as a writer, producer, director. It's like left brain, right brain. I don't know. I think it's just the ingredients of the soup. I don't know.
You mentioned, like raising money for films, and a lot of people, do crowdfunding, which it doesn't seem like that's something you do.
No, I've done it a few times, but none of I don't think it's ever been successful. I think there's something about, if you go to ask somebody for money and you don't have any paperwork on your film other than a script and you're like just excited to buy it, people will give you some money because of that. But like, there's something about, real investors will look at things. I used to think to myself, like, no one's going to give me money because I don't know them. Mm-hmm. So when I did Out of Exile, I consider that my first sort of like my feature narrative that I did with Peter Green from The Mask and Pulp Fiction, and he was the antagonist in the film, and that I wrote and directed. And I put together all the paperwork with the attorney paperwork and the LLCs, and it looked all nice with the investor prospectuses and all this stuff. And then I approached investors, and surprisingly, they took me seriously, and they're like, okay, you're looking for 10 grand for me? I can give you 10 grand. This looks good. Your paperwork looks great. Let's do it. And 6 months later, I was shooting a movie. I raised $250,000 in like 6 months. Wow. You find that people are willing to step in and help you as long as you've helped yourself to a certain extent. You know what I mean? If your stuff looks good on paper and you've done it the right way, it might cost a little money to kind of get it all going, but you'll find that people who have earned their place and like financially and they're financially stable, they want to give back. And it might not always be $1 million, but they'll give you something to, to continue to make films. Mm-hmm. And then if you make your movie and it makes this money back, then a lot of times they just roll it into your next movie. Yeah. And you just can keep doing it. And just rinse and repeat. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've been doing. And then once you start that momentum of making films, people on the outside see that and they start coming to you. And so, yeah, that's sort of what's been working for us the last few years. So, yeah.
So The Huntsman comes out February 6th. Where can people go to see, like, where it'll be playing if it's playing near them? It's
going to be playing at Limley's NoHo 7 in LA on Friday at 4 p.m. Cool. Myself, Sean Ashmore, Garrett Dillahunt, Brent Bailey, Madison Bullock, the producer, we're all going to be there. So we'll be there for Epic. I think the distributor's going to be there taking some pictures for a PR event and doing a Q&A. And so Limley's NoHo 7 in LA on Friday, February 6th, 4 p.m. And then it's playing also at Circle Cinema in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we're doing a screening there on Saturday the 7th that night at 7 o'clock. And I'll be there for that. So I'm flying into LA tomorrow and then coming back to Tulsa on Saturday. And then on the 10th, February 10th, drops on VOD platforms everywhere. Okay. Amazon Prime, Apple TV, wherever you get your movies.
Have you had a chance at all to watch it with an audience yet, or will this be your first time?
We did a cast and crew screening back last year in like May. So it's been a long time, but it's since been re-edited again. That version that we sold got changed a little bit. So there was another edit done, and there's been another like 15 to 20 minutes cut out of that. So I'm, like I was saying, like we shot a lot of movie, and there was a lot of scenes that, that didn't quite make it. And so I'd be interested in one day to maybe have a director's cut of it. Because I think the director's cut, it was 2 hours. I think the version you watched was like 1 hour and 42.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, which is cool. It's whatever the distributor wants. It's their movie. And I'm completely cool with that. I haven't seen that version in theaters yet. So it'll be interesting to sit with an audience and the actors and see if they nudge.
I'm glad that a lot of the actors are going to come out and watch it too.
Yeah,
so that'll be a great time.
Oh yeah, Sean and Garrett and Brent and those guys and the producers. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, it'll be a fun time. So Friday.
And what's that experience like for you to watch your movie? With people. I
can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like that. Like Adam Driver says he can't watch his own movies.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as for me as a filmmaker. I know where everything I'm hiding. You know what I mean? I know where the sound guy is, directly 1 centimeter out of frame. And I feel like
it's hard to watch it as a movie.
Yeah. For me, I can only see it as the thing that I'm creating, and the thing I'm hiding all the stuff on screen, or I'm constantly seeing the imperfections of something. I'm like, why didn't I spend more time on that? Why didn't I? And I just can't sit in it, and enjoy it. So I'm a pacer. Well, I'll maybe start the movie.
Yeah.
And then once the Huntsman title card comes up, I'll probably go get some popcorn and then won't come back until the end. That's just, I don't know, man. It's just how I am. I'm weird like that, but I am proud of the movie, and I'm excited for audiences to see it.
Yeah. I really liked it a lot. It's it sounds weird, but I know it's a movie my mom would love. She loves like kind of true crime, not necessarily true crime, but what I mean,
sure.
That kind of idea.
Slow burn.
Yeah. No, I like. Yeah. So I was really into it. Great acting. And it really did keep you invested. To know like to know who the bad guy is, and the connection to everybody.
There's some iconic stuff in there we wanted to do, man. Like when Lincoln or Garrett's character finally does come out of the coma, and like when they're wheeling him out, you do the glasses.
Yeah.
That was before One Battle After Another. So I think obviously they were shooting the movies at the same time, I think, but I wanted those kind of weird big glasses,
Yeah.
And just kind of make things odd and weird and slightly, if there's a way to make it iconic in some ways. I don't know. We had a lot of fun on that film set for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, congratulations on the movie.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And where can people follow you? Not back to your home, but out on the.
No, you want to do that. I live in an apartment anyway, so like I mean, I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Kyle Kauwika Harris. I'm on.
And I assume there's not too many of those.
No. Especially you're gonna have to type in my middle name, because if you type in Kyle Harris, you might find one of those. But Kauwika, Kauwika. So it's my mom's from Hawaii, so.
I was wondering because it seems it's an unusual middle name.
It's an unusual middle name. Nobody can say it right. So it's at events or like award ceremonies, if I won something, I always mess up my middle name. And that's the first thing I say when I'm accepting the award is like Kyle Kauwika Harris. It's all good.
All right. Well, all right. I'll talk to you again sometime.
Thanks, Neal. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you. And Neal, like I said, congrats on the movie.
Thank you.
Go see it. All right.
Yeah. All right. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, this is Doug Bradley, Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies, and you are listening to Without Your Head. And you better keep listening to Without Your Head, or you will not only be without your head, you will be without your soul, because I will tear it apart.